today I watched a news story that I can't make heads or tails of. I don't know who's in the right and who's in the wrong here. So I just wanted to share it with all of you because it's starting to convince me that Florida is not even a real place. It's just like a giant sketch comedy section. Like a quarantine zone of bad sketches gone wrong.
Well, I went to jail. They come arrested me last Thursday. They were here.
I lose them to animals, but I was not expecting them to lose them to my neighbor that was like my friend.
So those are the main characters here, and I'll give you a quick backstory. So they're neighbors, and one of them killed the other's rooster. Now, the guy's claiming it was done in self-defense because the rooster was extremely aggressive, and he's facing potentially up to like 5 years in jail for animal cruelty. He already spent like 30 hours in jail for this. The other guy's claiming he did it just maliciously to kill the rooster. And we're about to get a lot of exposition here, so get ready.
I didn't know to give it a 21 gun salute, CPR, mouth to mouth, or call the chicken ambulance.
Big Roo was Jason DeFelice's pet rooster. That is, until James Nix hit it with a stick.
Now, like a game of Clue, we have the murder weapon and the location of the murder. But we don't know the circumstances as to why. We know James is responsible for the execution of Big Roo, but we don't know the motive. We also know James sounds like Larry the Cable Guy, but that might not be good evidence for us. We get James's side of the story here, and the way he tells this war story makes it sound like Big Roo was the raid boss of this trailer park. He makes it sound like, Big Roo was coming around the block to shake James down for his lunch money, and James panicked and in self-defense hit it with a stick.
So I'm defending myself. I was feared for my safety, and the chicken, died.
Nick says the rooster attacked people.
I have not heard that, because I know the neighbor here. I know him. Like, we're friends. He never said anything to me about it.
I did tell him, after the chicken hit my dad, I said, hey man, the chicken attacked my dad. Oh, it's just a chicken. What's he gonna do? Okay, well, look.
Now James pulls out the receipts here. He's got the photos to prove it. Man was using that Dell laptop to print these bad boys out specifically for the interview, showing that the chicken does have a history of attacking.
And Nick says the rooster followed him and attacked him.
His neck flares up, and he's doing his thing, and he's trying to jump up at me.
He was trying to get the animal away.
This makes total sense to me because if there was a big rooster coming at me and it started busting out the Squidward dance, I'd probably panic too.
And I tried to hit it, but the chicken's jumping up at me and I accidentally knocked it in the head. Call it a lucky shot, whatever.
But when DeFelice came home, all he saw was his rooster dead in a ditch.
Leaving the body out there was just a bad move from James because it immediately makes Jason question what the fuck happened and why. It makes it seem like James just killed his rooster in cold blood and left it outside like a trophy or a warning to other roosters, like Vlad the Impaler, putting the goddamn Big Roo on a pike. It's just there could have been a much more efficient way of handling this, just like more communication. Like, Jason, you stupid imbecile. You again left Big Roo unsupervised and it tried to attack me and I accidentally hit it in the head and unfortunately it went right to Valhalla. They could have talked it out. They both shoulder a lot of blame here, but I really do think Jason's intentions were self-defense.
I said I'm calling JSO. I called JSO. JSO didn't do nothing. Then a couple days later, I realized I could call animal control.
And in late June, James Nix went to jail for animal cruelty.
Next thing you know, he calls the chicken police on me.
That's the last organization you want to visit from. The chicken police are no-nonsense, ruthless, strictly business, merciless, and they will fuck you up. God have mercy on the soul of someone who gets a visit from the chicken police.
While the neighbors continue the fight, Nick says he never should have been arrested.
Chickens are dying every day, people, at churches, Popeyes, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Really.
He's not wrong, but it's not a great comparison either, because it's not like those chickens are being hit with a stick in the back of the restaurant. They were factory farmed. This was a guy's pet. Again, I think both people are at fault here, but I just don't know who's more in the wrong. I don't know if it's necessarily animal cruelty if it was done in self-defense. Like a rooster, they could hurt you, right? Like, it's not like they're completely unable to do damage to human beings. People get attacked by chickens and it causes damage. Usually not life-threatening or anything, but you still don't want to just be attacked by a random animal just on your way home.
The neighbors even disagree on how others saw Big Roo.
The kids that used to live over there, they were throwing rocks and sticks at this chicken to keep it away.
I know the kids down here, they played with the rooster a little bit, like would throw rocks at it and chase it.
So one
Jason, that's not playing with the rooster. That's being afraid of it and trying to get it the fuck away from them. Who plays by throwing rocks at each other? Hey, Bill, come on over here. Let's play this fun game of being stoned to death. It's great. Like, again, it's hard to know who's in the right and who's in the wrong here, but I am leaning more on the side of James did this as an accident in self-defense. Jason's attitude is pretty douchey, and he does not understand what playing is. Oh yeah, that James is a real jerk. He's a no-good liar. Everyone in the neighborhood loved Big Roo. The kids would throw rocks at him, run away screaming and crying. It was so much fun, and I know they're going to be really upset to learn the news here. Also, I think Jason does bear a big fault because he's the pet owner, and he did nothing to, monitor the pet, just leaving it completely open to roam the area, clearly. Even he's not defending that. He's talking about how, the neighborhood kids would throw rocks, so clearly there's a history of Jason just letting the rooster wander around completely unsupervised, which is very irresponsible.
day when Nick says the rooster followed him and attacked him.
His neck flares up, and he's doing his thing, and he's trying to jump up at me.
He was trying to get the animal away.
This makes total sense to me because if there was a big rooster coming at me and it started busting out the Squidward dance, I'd probably panic too and try and flee, or, flight or fight response would kick in. It'd be a real mess. Again, the way James tells this story just seems a lot more genuine than the way Jason tells it, but it's just so hard to know for sure. But I also think it would have made a lot of sense if James truly did this in self-defense, to go to Jason and be like, look man, we all loved Big Roo, and unfortunately something tragic just happened, and then explained it to him. I feel like it wouldn't have got this far, but it seems like he just left the rooster's corpse outside, just like rotting outside. So, which means that Jason now doesn't trust James' story because James made no attempt to communicate what actually happened to Jason, I guess. This is just, there's so many fucking plot lines going on here. I feel like I'm trying to dissect Evangelion. It's just so many moving parts.
And I try to hit it, but the chicken's jumping up at me and I accidentally knocked it in the head. Call it a lucky shot, whatever.
But when Dave Felice came home, all he saw was his rooster dead in a ditch.
You see what I mean? Leaving the body out there was just a bad move from James because it immediately makes Jason question what the fuck happened and why. It makes it seem like James just killed his rooster in cold blood and left it outside like a trophy or a warning to other roosters, like Vlad the Impaler, putting the goddamn Big Roo on a pike. It's just there could have been a much more efficient way of handling this, just more communication, like, Jason, you stupid imbecile. You again left Big Roo unsupervised and it tried to attack me, and I accidentally hit it in the head, and unfortunately it went right to Valhalla. They could have talked it out. They both shoulder a lot of blame here, but I really do think Jason's intentions were self-defense. Roosters, again, from what I understand, can be very aggressive. Jason openly states, yes, this rooster just wandered around this entire area. Neighborhood kids threw rocks. The other neighbors over here, knew the rooster. So clearly there's just a lot of problems in general with what happened here. And it's a sad story, but one that I find so fascinating. Jason shouldn't just let his roosters wander around and, rampage this whole neighborhood. And James should have done more to tell Jason what happened. That it was an accident, that Big Roo attacked him. So again, just a wild story. And Florida is just so full of wackiness, I couldn't help but just bring this one up. That's about it. See ya.